Alright, you guys, so today we're going to be doing chapter 6.2, Law of Cosines. So what we're going to do is know how to use the law of cosines to find missing part of the triangles. And then I want you guys to understand when to use law of sines and when to use law of cosines. Decided to put the work at the beginning so you guys can know. You can do page 413, 5 to 24 odd. And 31 through 36, you didn't do them all, but all I want you guys to do is tell me yes or no if you can use the law of cosines to solve the question. Don't do the work, just tell me yes or no. Alright, here are the formulas. Okay, if we're looking for A, we do this formula. If you're looking for B, it's this formula. Looking for C, it's this formula. As you can see, they're all the same. Okay. A, when you have looking for A squared, you have B squared plus C squared minus 2BC, cosine of A. If you're looking for B, it's A squared plus C squared, 2AC, cosine of B. And you're looking for C, you have A and B squared minus 2AB, cosine of C. That's when you're looking for a side. If you're looking for an angle, you can use these formulas over here. So let me just get right into it. Okay, so here's an example. Okay, so we need to find out all the angles. Now, if you notice here, there is no angle, so we cannot use law of sines. Law of sines, we need at least one angle and the one opposite of it. This one doesn't give us any of it. Okay, now if I was to label this, and it doesn't matter which way I label it, A, B, C, all the formulas are pretty much the same, so it doesn't matter which way you label it. But just remember that opposite of C is C, opposite of B is B, opposite of A is A. Okay, now since we can use any one of these that we want, okay, but it is recommended to look for the bigger angle first. You don't have to, it's just recommended. So we know the bigger angle in this case is C. How do we know it's C? Because the biggest length is always opposite the biggest angle. Okay, so I'm going to use this one with these numbers. So it's basically just plugging in. Cosine of C equals A squared, which is 8, plus B squared, which is 14, minus C squared, which in this case is 19 squared, over 2 times A, which is 8, times B, which is 14. Okay, so we put that in the calculator. See, 8 squared plus 14 squared minus 19 squared. The top is negative 101. The bottom would be 2 times 8 times 14, 224. So divide those, negative 101 divided by 224. Now you could all do it at the same time in the calculator. I just decided to do it separate. This comes out to cosine is a negative 0.45 something, 451. Again, when we're looking for the big letters, we have to put this into the calculator, but this time we're going to use cosine of negative 1. Then again, just put the answer in that's above the negative sign. So second cosine, second negative sign, you'll see this pop up, and we get C to be 116.8. Okay, so we found one of them. 116.8. Now, from here you have options. I can do the same thing to find A or B, or I can use the law of sines. So let's say I use the law of sines here. Okay, so I'm looking for big ones, as we learned yesterday. Sine of 116.8 over, opposite of this is 19, equals, in this case I'll do B, sine of B over 14. So remember, you take the angle with the opposite and the angle with the opposite. So just like we learned yesterday or the other day, sine of B would equal 14 sine 116.8 divided by 19. Let's put that in the calculator. 14 sine of 116.8 divided by 19. Okay, we get some decimal, and then we're going to do the second inverse. So this comes out to something like 0.657. Again, we're going to do the sine inverse, plug in our answer there, and it tells us that B is equal to 41.12. Okay, so now how do I find A? Easy. 180 minus 116.8 minus 41.12, and I get A to be 22.08. And that's basically how I use the law of sines, cosines I mean. Now, if I wanted to use didn't want to use law of sines, I wanted to use law of cosines again. Okay, so let's say I didn't do this part here, okay, and I went straight into cosine again. Well, since I know cosine is 116, I mean, I could just do this one here and say cosine of A equals B squared, which in this case is 14 squared plus C squared, which is 19 squared, minus A squared, which is 8 squared, divided by 2 times B, which is 14, times C, which is 19. Put that in the calculator. 14 squared minus 19 squared, plus 19 squared minus 8 squared divide that by 2 times 14 times 19,